Nicki, by the way. We run a show here on Twitch. We're building a startup together.
We are building a startup.
We also work at AWS, too.
I'm still unsure of our business partnership, though. He's made some questionable decisions recently.
That's kind of weird to announce to the stream. I don't know what those questionable decisions are, but okay, cool. What am I getting fired?
Not yet.
Wow. Job is on the line.
We'll see how your live coding goes today.
I am pretty sure that you're not going to be able to hire anyone else for free, by the way. So,
you might have a good point there.
Yeah. We get to spend Valentine's Day with one of the services that I love the most. You're not supposed to pick one because they're like your children, right? Or you're supposed to love them all equally, but...
Do you love them all equally?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I don't. I love them all, but not equally.
And which child is your favorite, might I ask?
Serverless. I mean,
Obviously.
Lambda, obviously, is kind of the cornerstone, but there's so much more to serverless than just Lambda.
There is. Hopefully we're going to show you all of the tidbits of serverless today.
Why did we pick serverless for our startup?
So we picked serverless for our startup for 3 main reasons. Every week so far I've given like 3 tips for starting a company or 3 things you should be thinking about. And so because we're building our serverless backend today, I wanted to share with you 3 reasons why to start your company using serverless.
Before we get to that though, let's give background on who we are, what we're building.
Oh, right.
We said we're building a startup.
I got ahead.
But what does our startup do? And why are we qualified to be on this camera? I ask myself that question every day, by the way. Why am I qualified to be sitting in front of this camera?
Tell us.
I don't know. I think somebody made a mistake somewhere. But we're both evangelists for AWS. At some point in our lives, we actually wrote code. Nowadays, we write code to help people solve problems that are...
I still write code.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure. Not production code.
Not production code.
But what's great is that lets us focus on helping people in the community instead,
That's right. And
So-
I think I'm qualified to be here talking about how to build a startup.
Oh, yeah, you're probably a lot more qualified than I am, for sure.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
You're just giving me more reasons for why I should potentially put you on the chopping block today.
Well, okay, cool. So what are we building? What's our startup
Okay,
do?
so we are building an anti-social media application that is the most secure application that exists today.
Yeah.
Basically, you can get the experience and the dopamine rush of posting to a social network without your data actually going anywhere. Because
Where does it go?
we send it to DevNull.
And we're getting into,
DevNull is a service.
we're getting into the core of the tech behind this. Very
Which is like the most
innovative.
exciting thing for him because he was like the brains behind the DevNull as a service.
DevNull is so much more than just a service to me too. It's like what I base my entire philosophy of the world
It's
on.
like your religion.
Yeah, I'm trying to start a cult around DevNull eventually, one day, maybe.
How many people are in this cult?
Just me.
Yep,
but
I
we'll
didn't
see.
think very many people were in it.
Just me. Cult of
Cult
one.
of one.
That's not a good
Do
cult.
not join his cult.
You should have other people in your cult.
I highly recommend not joining.
So, you've built a startup before,
I have built a startup before.
and you've been giving us tips in each of these videos that we've been doing, these streams, right?
Yeah, I've been nice to share my
Your
insight with the
experience.
world and
Yeah.
my experience.
So we started, the first tips you gave were around when you've kind of got an idea, what types of things should you be doing during the ideation phase.
Conception.
Then, okay, great, I've got the idea, how do I start, right? How do I get out there and start building?
Or if I've started building, what should I be thinking about now?
Today, we're talking about scale and serverless. So why serverless for scale?
Well, let's just start with why serverless.
Okay.
So, if you've just started building your company, you probably don't have funding yet. You most likely don't have funding yet, and you're not at a point yet where you're ready to go out and get funding. And so you need to choose something that's going to be low cost, and serverless is your low cost option. First of all, included forever in our AWS free tier, meaning like however long you've had your AWS account, indefinitely till the end of time, you get 1 million invocations of your Lambda for free every single month. So if you are creating a serverless application and you do not have 1 million users hitting your web app yet, it's mostly free. The only things you're going to pay for are probably data storage,
Yep.
If you're using that, which we aren't,
No, or are we?
it's still up for debate, actually.
Yeah, we might actually sneakily store the data and then sell it
We
later.
might.
We haven't decided.
No, it's debatable.
Yeah, we're looking for feedback from Twitch too. Should we stay true to our beliefs in dev null, or should we sell out and get that sweet cash?
We'll see what they say.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyways, so you might pay for services that you're using integrated with Lambda, but your cost would still be very, very low. And also, Lambda's only using servers when it gets hit and when it's invoked. So you're not paying for server usage 100% of the time, even when you're running it in the middle of the night and no one's hitting it or no one's touching it. You're only paying for what you use. And again, 1 million invocations for free. So then when you go beyond that and you're ready to scale beyond 1 million users, which is probably quite some time from now, because I don't think that we have 1 million users yet, or even close to that, or even getting 1 million hits a day or in an hour or in a second.
No, we don't.
We're quite far away from having to actually pay for our application. So cost would be the number one reason. I initially built my startup as a serverless application and paid a very, very low cost to AWS to maintain it while I was building out my company. No ops is the second reason.
No ops.
Yes.
That sounds like a made up word.
no operations.
What does
required.
that mean?
There's no maintenance required. We're not maintaining servers. Okay. You're not doing OS patches. You are just writing the code and the business logic, which is what we need to focus on right now because we need to write that.
You know what's cool about words? They're all made up. All of them.
Every single one.
They're just all made up. So even that word that you just said, somebody made it up.
Someone made up the word ops, you mean?
No, no ops.
No ops.
Yeah. That sounds like a made up term.
It's actually 2 words.
Yeah, joined into one.
Okay.
So
right.
If you don't have a large operations team, right? Which we don't have a large team at all.
Yeah, it's
looking at the team
right here.
Between the two of us. And I don't have a lot of infrastructure experience. I have some, right? But not a lot. And
I don't think we have time to even do the maintenance.
I don't want to mess with that stuff, to be honest with you. Like you said, we just need to be focused on the core tech, the business logic. Serverless lets us do that.
And getting our app out there for people to actually start, using it.
Yeah, and that's actually something that you kind of have to become keen on identifying what falls under this serverless umbrella, right? Mm-hmm. Because not everything just automatically, not every service you go to use in AWS or for that matter, other cloud services or other third-party services, they're not necessarily all serverless, right? Sometimes there will be some maintenance or like in.
So what is your definition of serverless?
So one, it's got to scale to meet demand. I don't want to go in.
That was my third reason. Scale.
I don't want to go toggle buttons and turn levers and dials because I think that something's going to happen overnight that's going to increase the traffic all of a sudden, right? So to me, that's probably number one.
You don't want to wake up at 3 in the morning? I don't know if you can be my co-founder.
I mean, I wake up in a cold sweat every night at 3 in the morning because my life is filled with anxiety. But it has nothing to do with
that was TMI.
Operations.
I didn't need to know that information.
Well, I mean, you're plagued by nightmares, aren't you? You don't...
Sure.
Is that
not normal? Am I supposed
normal?
to be making you feel better? Is this making you feel better?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. I'll have a nightmare about it tonight.
Great.
Later.
Don't tell me about it tomorrow.
No, it's cool. Probably clowns will be involved or something. Who knows?
That's scary.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh
yeah.
God.
3 a.m.
Nightmares are scary.
Yeah. When you live an anxiety-ridden life like I do, that's
normal?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So, serverless, back to that, right? You don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. to go flip a switch because you've got a huge influx of traffic. It should, in theory, scale to meet your demand, right?
That's right.
Lambda's the best example of this. I think DynamoDB is actually a really good example of this too.
Yes.
But Lambda, the way that it works is that every time you have a function invocation, it's a different function, right? Mm-hmm. So you get multiple concurrent functions running at one time, up to some limits, which are soft limits. They can be lifted and things like that.
Absolutely.
But your code is executing without servers needed because we're managing that on the AWS side. You don't
Okay,
have to worry
so I
about
don't
it.
have to predict user traffic.
Right.
I have low cost.
Right.
What is your third definition of serverless? Third requirement.
Well, you kind of skipped. It's not just low cost. It's that I'm not paying for when I'm not using it, right? I don't have to come in and shut it off, right? Or scale it back down, right?
That's right.
So when I say scales to meet demand, I mean like lack of demand and high increase
Up
in
or
demand.
down.
Yeah, up or
Yes.
down. I don't want to have to go in and remember, like I provisioned out like 800, huge EC2 instances. Better go turn those down, right? Like, no, I don't want to remember that because, again, plagued by nightmares, 3 a.m. already
The
up.
clowns take precedence to you turning levers to turn on or
That's
off
right.
the server.
That's right.
So we don't want to interrupt the clowns. So
No.
I wouldn't want to touch that.
No. So instead, the Lambdas just scale down, right, on their own when the usage-driven demand also scales down. So there are a lot of other services that are used in serverless architecture sets. You asked for a third reason. I think it's just maintenance, right? I don't have to go patch operating systems. I don't have to go, make sure that there's enough
No
CPU allocated.
My made-up word.
Right. No ops. That's right. So it puts the focus back on the code instead of the infrastructure that then runs the code.
Which is what we like anyways.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that for sure. So, do you have any more tips from your business running serverless?
Those are my 3 tips for today. So what are we doing today?
Today, since last time, you took up all of my time.
God, you've been rubbing this in every day since last time.
I know, you took up all my time. I didn't get to do anything.
He didn't get to finish his Elastic Beanstalk website, and he has not stopped talking about it since the last episode. So we're going to let him finish that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, so as part of our startup, right, as part of building it out, we also need to generate interest.
A launch site.
Well, we need to collect interest in our startup, right? People who want to be informed, a list of people that we can go take to a VC and be like, look at all these people, right?
Look how many people signed up.
Look at how many people are in my cult now. Wait.
What?
Sorry. No, it's a separate thing.
Okay.
Sorry. The Dev Null cult.
That's not what you built, right?
No.
What does it look like?
No.
We're gonna have to see this now.
Don't worry about it. We'll get into
I
it.
should have paid closer attention to what you were doing.
Yeah. So speaking of paying closer attention to me, what are our roles in the startup too? We didn't even go over that.
Yeah, we didn't go over our roles. I'm CEO, obviously.
Yes, I think that is obvious to everyone.
And?
I think I'm a janitor.
You can introduce yourself. Come on.
Am I not the janitor?
No, you're not the janitor.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm the CTO for now until I get fired, apparently.
Not yet. You're still CTO.
Am I on a PIP?
Say it with confidence. You're not.
Have you put me on a performance improvement plan yet?
No, not yet.
Then I'm not even close to being
You're
fired.
on a development plan.
Yikes, that sounds worse.
It's a little worse.
Okay, well, cool. I'm CTO for now, so I've been doing what CTOs do and playing with a lot of interesting new tech, vetting it, making sure it works for our.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about some cool things today, like the SAM CLI. So if you're interested in learning about SAM or how SAM works with serverless applications, we're going to hit that today after he finishes building his Elastic Beanstalk application.
We won't spend too much time on it.
Yeah, we'll spend a little bit of time. We're going to go over Lambda Layers.
Yeah, new stuff. Like pretty new.
Very new.
Since 2018 reInvent, right? Last year's reInvent. Lambda Layers. We'll talk about nested applications.
So you might have built serverless applications and you haven't touched Lambda Layers or nested apps yet.
No, you probably haven't. It's still pretty new. So we'll see how to use those, what they actually do, what they are.
Yep.
I think it'll go well. But let's talk about Elastic Beanstalk. You want to talk about that? Why did we pick Elastic Beanstalk to do our mailer, right? So what we built, the application that we built, I'm being very generous because you didn't touch this, but we built it.
Say I.
It's our company.
You can say I.
Anyway, the mailer, right? This is a mail collection, right? So it's. I guess let's take a look at it real quick, shall we?
Yeah, I want to see this. I need to make sure that you didn't put any evidence of joining a cult on this website.
You know.
You're gonna scare off our potential users right out of the gate.
So what I just did there, by the way, was we have this really useful CLI. I love CLI tools.
Yes, you do.
It's for EB. It's for issuing
Elastic
commands
Beanstalk.
to work with Elastic
Look at all the
Beanstalk
things
from
you
my
can
command
do.
line. You can do a lot of stuff. We'll get into a few of those. Anyway, I just use EB open, and that pulls the running website. So this is actually a public URL that you can hit.
So you already did this. You already did all this work.
Yeah.
You won't be live coding for us today.
You know, I'll live code maybe. We'll see.
You'll live code maybe.
I don't know. I like
Promise that
talking
of you
about the
before.
code that I've made more than because
All right,
it usually
let me see.
breaks.
We're building something big here. Something that changes how you socialize. I like that.
Yeah. I put on my
We'll
marketing
never
hat.
share your email with anyone else.
What's funny about my marketing hat is it looks exactly the same as every other hat,
I
which
know.
is just this one hat. That's all I have. Isn't that weird?
It's not weird at all.
You want to sign up for
You
this?
never take that hat off. Yeah, let's sign up.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I want to sign up.
Okay, so that's your email address, right?
Great, thank you for handing that out to everyone. Appreciate that.
People should be able to contact you. You're an evangelist.
Submit.
Submit. Oh, looks like I already signed you up.
Oh my god.
You're already a member of my startup. I almost said cult.
Oh my god.
Almost
You're gonna
said
be
cult.
careful there. It is not a cult. Let's just reassure you it is a startup. We are building an app. I will show you the app later on today.
All right, so why did we pick Elastic Beanstalk to build the mail collection app?
Well, if you weren't familiar with serverless yet, you know, Elastic Beanstalk is going to run your application on a server. You might already have familiarity with that, and Elastic Beanstalk does abstract a lot of the setup and infrastructure building out of it for you, because you just basically zip up the app and send it to Elastic Beanstalk, and it will deploy it for you on an EC2 instance.
Right. So I could still focus on the code, but I don't have to relearn code paradigms to make it
That's right.
for Lambda, right?
Yep. And if you needed to make an adjustment on your EC2 instance, you could go in and do that.
All right, so let's look at the actual code that's running our web app.
That you already wrote.
No, I'm writing this right now. Watch. Click, click, click.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really?
Look, npm install. Oh, it didn't even wait for me. Hold on. Npm I -- save express. Here we go. Wow, look at that. Live coding.
Oh, man. I don't know if we're going to get it out of him today, guys. All right, so continue showing us your already written code. Pre-baked.
Okay, all right. So, what is Express? I just installed a package called Express.
That was probably already installed.
What do you mean? No, this is brand
okay.
new.
Right.
Net new. And I'm requiring it in. Oh, watch this. Watch. There you go. I put a line in. All right.
I don't know if we're going to get it out of him today.
So, Express is a web framework for Node.js. All right. If you've never used Express before, you can go read about it. It's by a really cool guy, actually, who doesn't work with Node.js very much anymore, named TJ Holowaychuk.
You remember his name every single time.
I like him a lot. He's a cool dude.
He reminds me of high school.
Anyway, so Express is just this web framework for working. You can actually use it for a full web framework, like to generate HTML from templates.
Yep.
Or you can use it for an API layer, too. And we're going to see later, too, you can even use it inside of Lambda, which is kind of interesting.
With a cool plugin.
Yeah. There's a package that AWS has built that lets you just drop in Express. So one of the things about Express that I really like, and actually ASP.NET Core took a lot of, they kind of stole a lot of stuff from this too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call it stealing, because it is. Anyway, how it works is you introduce pieces of the web server as middleware, right? So you register things in here, like we've got a cookie parser, right? I didn't have to write that. That's just a different package I could pull in. I'll highlight the CSRF. This is for CS RF middleware stuff. So cross-site request forgeries.
Got it.
Because we're taking in data, right? We're taking in a form data. You got to kind of protect it. But I didn't write any of these packages. I can just pull them in, and then in this Express layer, I can go ahead and say app.use, and then There you go. Perfect, right? I didn't have to write the CSRF middleware piece. I just pulled it in as a library.
Nope, and instead of getting like a fully baked framework with all the things that you might not be using, which would make the size of your application larger, you can only pull in the pieces that you need, which is similar to .NET Core now.
Yeah, .NET Core kind of ripped that off a little bit, didn't they? They saw a good thing. They were like,
it was good.
You see what this TJ guy did? He's cool. He's really cool. I'm a big fan of TJ.
Yeah.
Could you tell?
I know you are.
All right.
He's got a cool name too, so.
Yeah, Holloway Show.
He still does remind me of high school though.
Well, that's fine. So, look.
And if you have to Google him to see what he looks like, then you'll get my comment.
I used to look like that in high school too. We're kindred souls. I think.
That's why you like him.
So the routing layer in Express works the same way with middleware, right? So I can add routes in here. So I could come in and say, what do we want to put in here? Nicki, right?
You're going to actually name a route after me? I'm honored.
Probably shouldn't.
What is happening here?
Probably shouldn't. I've actually pulled the routes out into a separate, this is just kind of good practice too.
Yep.
Come in here. I've got this routes.index for the regular portion. Maybe we'll add a route for you. I don't know.
If I'm lucky.
Some live coding, right?
Yeah, why don't you add a route for us? I would love to see this happen. Wouldn't you guys like to see this happen right now?
Fine.
Rip off the Band-Aid. Just rip it off.
Wow. So if we come and look, right, in this route, this is our index route. And that means just slash, right? So I've got it pointed to a controller, which is another level of indirection. But I just did that to keep organized, right? You don't have to do this. I could actually just define out these objects. All it has to do is meet this rec, res, and next function. That's it. That's how middleware works in all of Express. Anyway, so I've got this main one, and it's rendering a page, right? Res.render. Res has a bunch of functions on it built in. Res.render is used for templates. Res.json is to send back a JSON object. Yep. Maybe that's what we should add. What do you think?
You're going to add a path for me that sends back a JSON object of what?
I don't know what. We'll have to decide that.
A surprise? Like a surprise, like if I load it up in my browser, I'm going to see something.
Oh, you want me to deploy it too?
Yeah.
How would it be a surprise?
You're
sitting here watching me doing it.
Go all the way. Okay, well, I will not watch while you do it. I'll watch the chat.
Oh, okay. Well.
Oh, look, so actually, Dr. Delford has requested that we do a session on the AWS CDK.
Oh, the CDK. Okay, yeah, CDK is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I haven't used it too much yet.
You can find a way to incorporate that in one of the next episodes.
You are watching. I see you watching. I see you looking.
Oh shit! I'm not supposed to look.
Let's see. Let's see if I can do this.
This is really tempting. I actually really want to see what you're doing.
All
this better be a good surprise.
Okay.
Don't forget, who's your CEO?
So I just issued npm start. I'm not doing it.
Can I look now?
I haven't pushed it yet. I just want to say that it works. So the regular route works. Let's see what this does. Oh yeah, it does. All right, cool.
Curiosity is really killing the cat over here. So hurry it up.
Let's deploy it, shall we?
Okay.
It's cool.
Is he live coding?
I just did.
Is that happening?
It was very simple.
I'm so proud of you.
EB deploy. This is the command that you run to redeploy your Elastic Beanstalk application.
Can I look now?
It's going to take a minute to redeploy.
So I can't look.
But let's talk about while this is deploying.
How about now?
That's definitely not annoying.
You know what I'm here for.
Let's talk about what this page is doing, shall we?
Yeah, what is it doing?
Well, you can look now. I don't have your JSON
thank
object.
God.
So the CSRF, right, I said was for security reasons.
Yep.
Because you can have people imitate your form and send data and try and inject data that you're not, expecting. You can do a bunch of validation on that data, which is always good. Anytime you're taking user input, you need to validate it, right?
So you're validating email?
That's right. So with this sign up, right? So if we go back to this is a form, right? And when I click on this form, it's just this is like an old school form. This is not a single page application, right? Do you remember these?
I do remember these.
You do.
Yeah, actually I do.
Look, I mean, this is actually just this form.
Yeah, wow, that's
form action.
That's an old school form.
Remember that? Yeah. Form action is just posting to my sign up route. That's it.
Nice.
Right? So that sign up route is right here. It's validating things based on validation rules I set up. It's pulling the IP address of whoever is signing up. So that was a little piece that I added.
Wow.
And then it's using this email service. Right?
Are you saving that too?
Yeah, I am. Look. So I send into the save
The
email.
email and the IP.
Yeah. So whatever somebody enters into there, shall we go? Look what the save email does. Oh, look at that.
Oh yeah, you're just posting.
Yeah. Actually, just pull it up here, shall we? There we go. Yeah. See, look.
Has anyone signed up for our service besides me?
Yeah, me. I did.
Have you checked the database recently?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it's just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Great.
It's a great number for...
Excellent numbers. I can do a lot with that.
Yeah, the VCs are going to love it.
They're going to be stoked. Two people.
I wanted to call this out, too, about Elastic Beanstalk, right? So the sign-up table here, right?
Yeah.
That's getting pulled in from these EB extensions, which this is a special folder that you can add to your Elastic Beanstalk applications. And you could define out environment variables, right?
Cool.
I'm also defining out things
the
here.
Table's an environment variable.
Like, how does my application actually start up, right? npm start is generally how you start one of your apps. You know, you define that out in the package JSON.
Yep.
The script, right? If we go back, I'm also defining out where do you get static files, that kind of thing, right? Images, whatever. But I'm also using CloudFormation to
yeah, that is a little
set up a table, right? And this is a really basic table. And
so if the table didn't exist,
the primary key is just email. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm taking this Petunia signups table and I'm passing it in with a ref, which is a CloudFormation operation, right? Ref means give me the unique identifier of this, and then I can use this in
environment variable
in my actual application, which I did in this email service, right? So that's where I get the table name, so that I can.
And then you just put to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Makes complete sense. Do
you
guys have questions?
I think we're deployed. Shall we see what?
Yeah. What did you do? Now I want to see this.
All right. So this is the live endpoint. Let's see if it actually deployed. Oh yeah, there you go.
Too late.
I did it.
You did it.
Wow, I'm so proud.
I'm
proud
really,
of myself.
really proud of you.
Wow. No, you're not. It's okay though. All right. So Elastic Beanstalk. That's I'd say all that we really need to say about that.
I would agree. Let's cut to the actual app that I didn't finish last week.
Oh.
Due to the NPM problems.
Okay.
And you can actually see now DevNull as a service for backend working in my UI.
All right. So just to summarize too, building a startup together, right? This is our company right here. CEO, CTO. It is a service
just live coded for like the first time.
That's not the first time I've ever live coded.
We're clapping for you.
All right. I appreciate it. We're building a service that deletes whatever you post, right? So you want to go engage in social media? Cool. It's probably not safe to do today. So instead, we just delete everything that you write.
Get that dopamine rush without taking that risk.
Yeah, it doesn't give me a dopamine rush.
Okay, well, you're a rare odd person.
Yeah, I wouldn't actually use our service. It's not a good thing.
You signed up.
I did sign up, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. I want to see who else signed up.
So next we're going to be talking about serverless and making our core infrastructure and our core tech based on serverless architecture, right?
Yep.
How do we follow along? We've got a repo. We didn't talk about the repo yet either.
We did not.
I've got a repo link here that...
It's also linked in the Trello board that we've also made public, and we showed the last 2 episodes.
I'll drop this into chat. There we go. So if you want to follow along, actually, the branch currently, the master branch doesn't have that mailer set yet, but if you switch over to a branch called mail, you can go look at the code that is showing all the Elastic Beanstalk stuff that we just went through.
Perfect.
Cool. So let's switch over to Nicki's computer.
Okay.
And you're getting a shot at redemption here. Is this what this is?
Yeah, I need a little shot at redemption.
All right. All right.
Okay, so last week I started to create a React Native app and could not get that thing to load straight out of the box. We didn't even really change any code. It just wouldn't load out of the box. It was being a little finicky. So got it loading. It's working now. I got some cool UI to show you. So let's actually run this thing, and I promise you it's gonna work this time. Bam! No errors yet.
You're getting a little too excited.
Shh.
It hasn't started yet.
I'm gonna open it now with the simulator, which it already was open, but it'll reopen.
Sir Maxim wants to know what was the issue.
I basically just ran delete node modules npm install like 7 more times, and then it started working.
7 is the number.
I don't know what happened.
That's the number.
But yeah, there's some issue with the React Native out of the box template that they give you, where some of the packages are out of date with each other because they're updating so quickly. So even my Expo CLI just told me today there's been a new update since like 3 days ago when I just when I got this working. So they're updating so quickly, these new tools, and they don't always like work in conjunction with each other or not updating. So I updated my Expo CLI a bunch of times. I deleted the node modules. I ran node npm install, and then somehow it started working. Like, I'm not exactly clear.
Living on the edge.
It was a little bit of living on the edge. And the funny thing is I've done this 3 other times, and it was a similar experience where I couldn't quite get it working out of the box, but then I just fiddled around for way longer than I can spend fiddling around on stream with you all.
You know what?
And it worked.
My favorite bug is the kind that's non-reproducible, that has no clear fix.
Okay, so this is
That
reproducible,
stuff just starts working.
but there is no clear fix. And
Yeah.
I'm still not sure how it works every time.
Yeah, that's my favorite kind of bug, where it just, I didn't do anything different, and now all of a sudden it works. That's a terrifying bug, actually.
Yep, that's basically what happened to me.
That's the one that'll wake you up at 3 a.m.
In a cold sweat.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
With the clowns.
I already did wake up multiple times in a cold sweat on this bug. Like,
Yeah.
still trying to battle it out.
So PSF, this is a good time to call out what tech we're using behind this. PSF asked, will this app work on Android? And yes, because
Yes, it
we're
will.
using React Native.
That's
React
right.
Native is a framework built by Facebook, right?
Yep.
And it compiles to both Android and iOS native applications.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're using the Expo like framework SDK and CLI to run it locally and build it in just React Native. But if we were to do Expo eject, then it would actually create the Android and iOS projects, and you could essentially go into them and continue coding in a native language to build something specific for those apps. But you could build the bulk of what you needed to write in React Native. And then I think also AM mentioned last week, if there was like a specific part of a screen that you wanted to be only viewed on iOS or Android, if you name the view, so we're looking at a view right now called homescreen.js. So I think if you name the view homescreen.js.ios,
Yep.
it automatically will
Other way. Homescreen.ios.js.
Duh. It will automatically launch that home screen in iOS and not show the other one.
Yeah, so you can actually have different components for each mobile type, right? That
Yep.
are specific. So a lot of things across the 2 mobile platforms are way different, right? So they
Yes.
are they require sometimes their own dedicated components based on what you're using. Like Date Picker is a really good example of being super different on Android versus iOS.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can do that in React Native just by renaming the file name, or you could just eject the app if you're using Expo, and then it would create those 2 projects for you, and you could continue writing in the native language. So either Swift or Java. So this is my home screen that I was trying to show you last week and failing at. So all it does is it's got this little button. Oh, we added authentication using Amplify. So we did this last week on stream, but I was not able to show you that it was working just because the app would not run. It is running now due to my weird node module fixes that are unknown at this point. So I've created an account and I've signed in. So I'm logged in right now to the app. I can create a new post, which is just going to open a modal. And this code is also checked into the GitHub, so if you wanted to pull it down, you could see how I created this view. There's just a modal sitting inside the view that I pop. And then if I write like text to post, so I'm posting to my social network. Then it posted and it deleted it. Sent to dev null successfully. And I also console logged it here, so you can see that it's actually working as well. So you can see in this send post, I have console log. I'm using fetch to hit his API, and then I'm just sending the comment right now. I will add the ability to send a photo soon enough, but this is where I'm at with the front end. I can just close the modal when I'm done, or I can actually close the modal for the user. Haven't gotten there yet, but I wanted to show you that it is working. And that it is now, the code for this is now in the GitHub, so you can pull it down.
I changed my mind.
Look.
I changed my mind.
About what?
I want to use our service now. I like it.
What
it was
happened?
the UI.
The UI was
the UI
bugging you or sold you?
It sold me.
You like this?
Yeah, I like it
You like
now.
my creation?
Yeah.
Did you just give me a compliment?
No, don't think that.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure that that wasn't a compliment.
I like that you also used me in your example. But so let's call out the sign out button.
Yeah,
what is that? Where's that coming from?
So right down here at the bottom of this component, at the bottom of the app component.
Did you make that?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't write any of that code. I want to seem like I did and seem cool and like lie to you and tell you that I did. But
yeah,
I didn't.
You should just lie. That makes you more approachable if you just lie about
I wrote it.
Right?
It's mine. Do you like the orange color?
Yeah. It looks like Amazon colors, actually.
I can't lie. I'm so bad at lying.
Amazon Ember.
So all I did in the main app JS component is I imported with Authenticator from AWS Amplify React Native. These were packages that I installed last week on last stream. So I set up Amplify by calling Amplify init, which automatically gives me this AWS exports folder. And then I installed 2 NPM packages, AWS Amplify React Native and AWS Amplify. And then I imported with Authenticator, and then all I did was wrap my component in the export statement with Authenticator, and then Auth is automatically installed and showing up in the app and working beautifully.
So click that sign out.
You want me to sign out?
Yeah, sign out.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, there you go.
Did you want to sign up?
I don't know if I go that far yet.
Okay.
I definitely am more interested in the app.
You want to test the waters.
And I'm really glad that I signed up for the mailing list to find out more.
Well, you're just not ready to take that next step.
I mean, yeah. I'm not. Not yet.
It's okay.
Not yet.
So yeah, I just signed out and signed back in with my pre-created account. But if you were to clone this repo and run this locally, you could create an account in our database, and you'd be able to log in and sign in and do everything.
Yeah, so it's actually using behind the scenes AWS Kognito.
That's right.
Which Kognito is a service in AWS that is centered around user management type workflows. It's got sign up, sign in, forgot password. It's got two-factor auth, like if you need to send a text message and then take that. It's all built in. Does social logins. I think last week, or 2 weeks ago. I was in Norway last week, actually.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, on our last stream, people were asking, how do I do social logins? And Dennis from our developer advocate team for Amplify actually made a really great video. I think you posted it.
I linked it on the YouTube. So there was a question on the YouTube of like, how do I do social logins with Amplify? I linked his post so you can view it there if you wanted to go further in depth with that.
Yeah, and what I mean by social logins, Brandon wants me to clarify here, is login through Facebook, through Google, things like that, with OAuth, right? So that you can use your Facebook account to log in to our service.
Wait, that's counteractive, though, son.
You should.
I don't know. We're not going to integrate that into our...
yeah. There you go.
But there is a post about it. So.
I didn't read the actual I didn't read what he actually
Oh,
wrote.
you made a Kenny Loggins joke. Your fave.
Oh. Kenny Loggins is my favorite, for sure. I get it
Okay.
now. I feel really stupid. Because I thought he just made a typo. But my brain's not on Kenny right now.
Nope.
It usually is.
It usually is. Let's bring it back there.
Yeah, all right. Oh,
Actually,
wait.
no. Let's get to
let's
the SAM
focus.
CLI.
Sorry,
Let's
I
get to
was
the
I
SAM
was singing
CLI.
Kenny songs in my head there for a second.
You were gonna show me some cool things about Lambda Layers. in
Oh,
SAM
Lambda
CLI.
Layers. We also had a question too for peanut butter. That's
Peanut butter.
that's
That's
a
a
good
cool
name. What do you think about? This is a typo, I believe. The dashboard. I think dashboard, right?
Okay.
For serverless monitoring. So I would highly suggest X-Ray for that, right? X-Ray
Yep.
is a good way to do monitoring across serverless applications. We haven't set any of that up yet.
CloudWatch also has automatic dashboards now, which will organize an automatic dashboard based on all of your Lambdas. It's really good for monitoring your Lambdas as well.
Yes, and also there are third-party services too. Like
Yep.
I've got some buddies over at Stackery now. I've made friends with a lot of them, and Stackery is a good tool for monitoring AWS Lambda and
shout out to
serverless.
Chase.
Oh yeah, Chase is awesome. Chase is super cool. All right, so we're gonna talk about Lambdas now. Is that what we're gonna?
We're
do?
gonna talk about Lambdas, and you promised to tell me some cool things about Lambda Layers specifically.
I promise a lot of stuff.
So you're planning on breaking those promises?
Probably.
Okay.
At some point.
Cool.
Yeah.
Glad we clarified that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. So let's talk about first the tool that you use when you're making serverless applications on AWS. SAM. What does it stand for?
Serverless Application Model.
Yeah. I always forget the M. I always
Really?
want to say like markup because it's got the template in it, but no, it's model. Yeah.
And there's two components to SAM.
Yes.
One is the CLI, another CLI tool for AM. He's stoked on his life. Oh, he's showing it right now.
There it is.
And then the other is the template, which is an extension of CloudFormation. If you're not familiar with CloudFormation, it is just infrastructure as code. It's written as a JSON file or a YAML file. Looks kind of like that. Yes. Thank you. That was great timing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just an extension of CloudFormation, and it's specific to serverless applications so that you can create the pieces that you need to work with your serverless application
All
at
right.
the same time that you create your Lambda.
So you want to make sure chat's up so we're not missing anything?
Yeah, and I'm also gonna post the GitHub to SAM in the chat.
Oh yeah, I've got that up too. We can take a look
If
at
you
that real
guys
quick.
wanted to take a look at it,
We've got so this is actually that you just posted the SAM CLI, right?
I did.
Cool. So the SAM CLI GitHub is a good place to go and learn about the different commands that you can run. We'll be doing a bunch of those. I wanted to call out too. I'll post this in chat too. You guys can see my chatty app come up for a second, which is okay. This portion of the GitHub is actually a really good reference for those SAM templates. Number one, I'm just scrolling around all over the place. There are these examples here that you can come in. If you go into these examples, they actually have samples around different types.
A lot of samples.
Yeah, different types of serverless little mini applications, I'd call them.
Cool.
But what I go here the most for
Is
this reference material right here, which this is for writing SAM templates, right? So where I am spending probably the majority of my time is right under here in this event source types. What's cool about the SAM templates is that I can define out a Lambda function, right? But in the past, before SAM existed, I would have to create whatever event source, so let's say an API gateway,
Yep.
separately, and then I would have to join the
Link
two
them.
together with more CloudFormation,
Yep.
which I love CloudFormation, don't get me wrong. But the less CloudFormation I have to write,
The happier you are.
maybe.
The less clowns appear at night.
No,
No,
nothing can
okay.
stop that.
Oops, sorry.
But this definitely makes life a lot easier for building these apps because you are very rarely going to build a Lambda that is not invoked by something, right? You're very rarely going to be invoking the Lambda from an SDK or CLI. You're going to be doing it from one of these event source types, right?
Absolutely.
And API is probably the most common, I'd say, right? But
I would agree.
having this, right, this joins the two together automatically, right? So that you can just have an event piece in your SAM template. But like I said, I come here a lot because this has got the best documentation for how to set these things up, right? So this will just create an API for me.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't have to go create that separately.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, let's see your SAM template.
Oh, I was just gonna go ahead and start out with like a fresh one. What do you think?
Wow. Okay.
I know, I'm going crazy today.
Yeah, this is a new day.
So SAM init, right? That's the command that I just issued help on.
And you can give init a runtime. So if you wanted to create,
That's what we're looking at here.
where?
Runtime.
Oh, there's all the runtimes.
Yeah.
I was just saying that. So like you can create a Python serverless application done at core, any of the ones listed here. So you're going to create Node.js.
Of course, because we're doing JavaScript all the way
right.
down, right?
Go for it.
What should we name it?
Petunia.
Live coding?
Oh. What happened to our code name?
Well, we've already got a bunch of Petunia stuff. Live Petunia. How
Live
about
Petunia.
that?
That's perfect.
All right, cool. So this created a directory for me with this hello world template.
And then now you're going to open it up for us.
I guess I will.
Maybe.
All
right, let's see what's in it.
So this is just the generic boilerplate, like, get me off the ground type thing, right? So we come in and look, this is the SAM template.
I love it when people just take me off the ground immediately.
Yeah?
When I'm trying to build something. Yeah.
I mean, you're small, you're short. It's probably easy to get you off the ground, right?
Don't say that. I am mighty.
I don't want to detract at all from how mighty you
Mouse
are.
here.
It's very true. You are very imposing. You frighten me.
Okay, I didn't want to take it that far.
You terrify me.
Now we're back to the insults. I feel comfortable again.
There you go.
Yeah,
Good.
It feels better.
This is really a simple CloudFormation, right? And it's that superset that we're talking about of CloudFormation called the SAM template. But we've got this special directive serverless function, right?
So it's going to create our Lambda function.
Yeah, I'm actually referencing a local path. So we have some built-in SAM CLI stuff that will come in and when you're deploying Lambda, right, you have to know how to package your Lambda code up, right? Yep. And it's a zip file that needs to get pushed to an S3 bucket, and then your Lambda function that gets created can pull the code out of that bucket.
Right.
And it's a lot of things to learn if you've never kind of touched Lambda before.
Sam takes care of a lot of that.
Right. So Sam has some quality of life commands.
And
that...
he's kind of cute, so.
Oh, the squirrel. You like
Absolutely.
the squirrel?
I love the squirrel.
What is it? The Sex and the City people? There's a quote about squirrels. I think there's something about...
I don't know. You're talking to the wrong audience.
Oh, Carrie Bradshaw says, I believe. I might be
How do you
misquoting.
Know? Okay, never mind.
Don't you put me in a box.
I'm not gonna ask
Don't you put me... Don't you tell me what I can and can't know.
So what is the quote?
Carrie Bradshaw says that squirrels are just rats with a better outfit. I think. That's the Carrie Bradshaw
Great quote. Okay, not Sam, though. Let's just be clear.
Okay, all right.
Sam is cute.
So,
if you missed him scrolling through the squirrel, check that GitHub link.
Yeah. So all that we're doing here is we'll get this code packaged up for us by SAM command. This is telling us what actual function to run.
To invoke.
Right. And we'll go look at the actual code and see how that pairs up. Declares out our runtime for us.
Creating an API endpoint to invoke it.
Yeah, remember this was that nested thing, and this automatically pairs that API with this Lambda function, so that API
So it creates the API gateway endpoint for you and pairs it.
Right, and something that's not shown here that can definitely come to drive some frustration is with this magic here. You are giving permissions for your API to invoke this Lambda. Normally, you have to explicitly do this. If you're not building with SAM templates, you can't just have sources invoke Lambdas. You have to actually define out policies and roles that allow these pieces to talk to each other. Right?
Totally.
So that's something that I've struggled with very much in the past before. Like, why is my function not invoking, right?
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, Sam templates really make
I told
that.
you he's a cute little squirrel. Gotta love him.
We're even declaring out environment variables here, right? We can do that
You
too.
can set up environment variables. All right, so let's see your function.
I too want to call it the outputs, right? So this is.
Oh yeah, that's important.
This is stuff that gets put into the CloudFormation dashboard that you can go look at. You can also reference this from CLI, not the SAM CLI, but the AWS CLI.
Yep.
But let's look at this actual code, shall we? A lot of comments there. But this is just describing to us, so since this is an API gateway proxy, right? Since we're taking the event from API gateway and proxying it through to Lambda, this is describing out all of the things, the properties that are going to be on that event, right? That makes sense?
That's nice. If you didn't know that or have that information.
All that this function does is it passes the event, it goes and uses a library called Axios, which is HTTP client. Yep. It actually works on browser and Node.js too, so you can use it on both. Really like Axios. Cool library. It goes ahead and hits this check IP endpoint. It just gets your IP address and returns it to you with the message "Hello World." That's it.
Cool.
That's all there is to it. But let's say I don't want to actually.
So how do you deploy this?
Well, what if I just want to do this local first?
Oh yeah, so with SAM you can run it locally. You can actually breakpoint through it.
Yeah, I'm gonna install the packages first, right? So npm
Smart move.
npm installs. I shouldn't use the abbreviations on the stream.
Same thing. npm install.
But npm install, that goes and checks my package.json. So if you've never used Node.js before, this is looking and saying, oh, look, I've got Axios in here as a dependency. Now go out and put it in this node modules folder for me, right? Yep. This is all going to get zipped up whenever I go ahead and package it to deploy. But I can also use a tool called SAM Local, which let's look what SAM Local can do for us. We can generate events, which is really helpful. It spits out JSON data for you. I can invoke singular functions. So if I don't have an event source and I'm just working on a function, which I said, pretty rare, right?
Yep, pretty rare.
And then also I can start an API, right? That's what I'm going to do. So let's do that. SAM local start API. All right. You think this is going to work?
Yeah, I totally do.
You do?
You can also, there inside the SAM CLI GitHub, there is a VS Code configuration that if you drop into your VS config on your VS Code instance, you can actually breakpoint through your code. I think also you have to add another parameter to the SAM CLI. So he typed SAM local start API, and then you do -d, and then you give it port 5858.
Oh, that's for debugging.
For debugging, yeah, you can step through your code.
Yeah, you need a VS Code
config.
Yeah, I think I have that. Oh, look, there you go. There's my little IP too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he's running this locally, so before he even deploys it to Lambda, he can make sure his code is working.
Yeah, this isn't deployed at all.
Yeah, super cool.
Now I can come in here and actually I don't think I have to redeploy.
You don't actually.
I don't have to restart.
No,
this should just go
it'll
ahead.
go.
There you go. Yeah. So it's super fast for local development, right?
Yep.
All right. So I think before we deploy this, shall we do a recap?
Let's do a little recap. So
It's your turn.
Yeah, I'm going. I already started. We are building a startup. If you missed the first 2 episodes, we're building an anti-social network that posts to dev null. So get that dopamine rush from posting to your social network without sharing your data with anyone, because it will be deleted.
Yeah.
Or will it? TBD.
We don't know. We don't know.
So what we've done so far is we created a launch website using Elastic Beanstalk, so you can now sign up for our cool startup. There's only 2 people signed up, so please go sign up. And we
you didn't say that the 2 people were us.
Wait, did I have to say that? Like, was that needed to be included? No.
I
We went over
included
the
it.
front end because I got it working. Apologies for last week. Node modules, NPM betrayed me. I don't know what happened. We weren't getting off on the right foot, so I got the front end working.
NPM has never betrayed you, ever.
It definitely did last week on live stream, for sure. And then we are going over the SAM CLI. He created a new project using SAM's CLI. So he did SAM init, and he specified a runtime of Node, and then he decided to run it locally and show us how it worked.
Yeah.
And now he's going to deploy it.
Shall we deploy it?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. We can package it up. SAM
Okay, so
package.
he's going to call SAM package, and he's got to give it his template, which he showed. Remember, it's an extension of CloudFormation.
Cool.
And then he's got to spit an output template.
Remember, this is zipping up based on that where I
Do you
put
have a
that.
bucket created already?
I do, but I'll show the CLI command for creating a bucket too. But there you go.
You didn't create a bucket yet. You would have had to do that before this step.
And then I always like to give it an output template because it's good for the next step. Boom. That's going to zip up my package, and it knows how to do it.
And push it to the S3 bucket that he specified.
Right. And if we go look at that out template.
It now filled in the URL.
Where's that code URI?
Yep.
Yeah. See, look. It uploaded, and it's got this crazy hash here. All right, cool. But if you needed to create a bucket, AWS S3.
MB.
MB.
Make bucket.
And Steve, I'm so sorry that I'm using the AWS CLI right now and not the PowerShell tools for AWS.
You have to apologize to him on stream? He's going to come after you?
No, Steve Roberts, author of the PowerShell toolkit for AWS.
Okay, direct apology.
Personally, probably stab me.
I'm really glad it's you typing this, not me.
I know, right? Yeah. All right, cool.
So it actually gives you the command to deploy it if you look in your terminal, but you can also use SAM deploy.
Yeah, I
with
like to use SAM deploy.
Parameters.
So I just say template file, and I'm going to use the one that was generated, right? Not the original one.
LP Lebator wants to let us know that he likes TypeScript over JavaScript.
Oh, I like TypeScript a lot, actually, for sure.
Janiscu7, I can just use C#. Yes, you can. You do not need to use Node.
Yeah, there are actually special tools for C# devs, too. You don't actually have to use the SAM CLI. There's .NET CLI extensions built for that.
They're awesome.
Norm, who's another hero of mine, on our team here.
Shout out to Norm.
Yeah, on our team here at AWS, he built those. So now I have to add this capability IAM thing, and this is just one of those things you got to add. It's part of CloudFormation. It gives CloudFormation permission to create IAM roles for you. Remember, I said that those two things are hooking up automatically, the API gateway and the Lambda function. It's generating an IAM role for that to happen.
And giving permissions.
So I have to say to CloudFormation when I'm deploying this, yeah, that's cool with me.
Yep.
That's fine. So here we go. Waiting for change set.
Is it gonna work?
I
mean, you didn't change really hardly any code, so it should be fine.
Wow. I feel a lot of judgment from this side.
There's always a lot of judgment from this side.
Yeah, no kidding.
Flames has been judging you since we started.
Well, Guy Fieri the dragon has always got my back. Have you ever seen?
Dragon is gonna eat your dragon.
There's like a shirt that's or it's just an image, I guess, but it says Dungeons and Dragons and Dine-ins and Dives. It's like
You're doing D&D references again?
Wow.
Wrong person. Wrong person.
So CloudFormation is creating my stack right now, which is really always
awesome.
fun to watch, right?
So let's talk about Lambda Layers then.
Okay, yeah. Oh, but we completed
Wow, it already finished.
It was finished.
That was really fast.
Remember, I said the outputs here. This is my actual production.
So now you can hit that.
Yeah, with curl. And it's /hello. There you go. Now that's a public URL, right? Cool. So
I like that it only says hi to me.
Yeah, of course.
The world and me, and then not you.
Nobody wants to say hi to me. All right, so you want to talk about Lambda Layers?
I do want to talk about Lambda Layers.
Will you tell me what they are?
So Lambda Layers will allow you to basically create a layer that you can run on any of your Lambdas. So you can reuse code now by creating a layer. You can create a layer with libraries that you're going to use on every single one of your Lambda functions. You can create a layer on a self-made library, which I think is what AM did. He built his own little library, and then he created a layer off of it, and now he can add that layer to any of his Lambda functions as long as he knows the ARN. If he didn't create it himself, he can use anybody else's layer. If he knows the ARN and if it's published.
I just want to say that when you call it my little library, it's very demeaning.
Okay, it wasn't meant to be demeaning.
This is a very impactful, high-value library, okay?
A very impactful. What does it do exactly?
High value.
What does it do?
Tell
us what it does.
Well, right now,
console logs.
I've added more to it, actually.
Oh, okay.
It was just console logging.
Yeah, so I saw this.
And then using Lodash to generate 6 random digits, which I was going to save as the person's lucky lotto numbers in our service.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I know. I have them sometimes.
I like the last console log line specifically.
Do you?
Yeah, it's
Build
my
with
favorite.
Nicki and Nicki.
And then you just like removed yourself from the equation.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened there?
You know, it's just a...
Is this what happens when I leave you alone by yourself?
No, this is like waking up at 3 a.m., one of the nightmares.
Oh, the clowns.
I just started typing furiously.
Got it.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at layers, right? Nicki gave a great outline of what layers are. And typically, most of the examples, at least that I could find, right, were packaging up dependencies, right, library dependencies, and then including them as a layer for other functions to reference, right? So that I didn't have to package that node modules folder with every single function for every single library that I might pull in, right? Axios, right? If I wanted to use that across multiple functions, might make a good layer. What I was really curious about was how do I write my own library, right? That's not published to NPM, and how do I include that as a layer? So I did it.
Yeah.
I figured it out.
Let's see it.
All right, so let's go back to my screen.
So what does
here.
our layer do in our dev null service?
Oh yeah. Let's take a look. So again, I said all it was doing before was
creating a lottery number.
Creating that lottery number and logging.
Logging my name a bunch of times.
But I also just added in an SQS queue to it too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so this is the logic that you'd use to go send a message to an SQS queue.
So you are now pushing to an SQS queue and you're giving the layer the queue URL.
Right, exactly. And this is a referenceable function off of my library, right? And so I named this library locally my initials, AMSXPG.
There's a question for you here from Big Boy Gaming. Would you consider yourself an expert in network security?
I would consider myself an expert in probably like horror movies or pizza. Definitely pizza.
Yeah.
Know a lot about pizza.
There's a lot to know about pizza?
No, I'm probably not an expert in network or network security. No.
Yeah. That's going to be a no for me.
But I can definitely talk to people who are. I know some people that are. Anyway.
You can hold a conversation.
Well, I can definitely pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Which is even more dangerous than knowing what I'm talking about. If you have a question, though, we might...
said R.I.P.
I might know it. So.
I think that's what is that? I don't know what that is. A frog?
Yeah,
it's a frog.
A little sad
It's
frog.
a really disappointed frog. It's a cool emoji.
Anyway, so this library depends on Lodash, which is a very nice functional library in JavaScript that lets you. It's like Link, if you're familiar with Link in C#.
Yep.
It does a lot of nice things, like I'm using it to generate those random
numbers,
right? Yeah, from 0 to 100. Anyway, to package this up as a layer, right? And this is, in fact, how to do any layer, right? I see you reading a wall of text over there.
Yeah, that's So Big Boy Gaming says, any idea how I can get my life back? This one guy's relentlessly DDoSing me and targeting me for the past month or so. I've done whatever I could think of, but he's still going at it. He's determined on making my life so much harder. It's working, losing subs and views. Hate to just ask you that, but I'm at my wit's end. and reaching out wherever I can. Okay, well, first of all, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's rough, man. But
yeah.
no suggestions off the top of my head.
Nope. I'd have to dive deeper on that, like offline.
Yeah. Anyway, this is how you actually build a layer for any type of layer. You have to have this folder structure of Node.js, and this is different for different runtimes. You have Node.js, and then you have bundled in here this Node modules folder, right?
Yep.
And that's what actually happens behind the scenes is on the container that invokes your function, it gets added to this /opt folder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that becomes available to other code running on that container, right? Which is your function.
Right, and it's going to look specifically in that file path.
It's going to look for Node modules. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You have to have Node.js. You have to have Node modules. You see, I've included this. This is my library here, right?
Yep.
Same library. What's neat is with NPM, you can actually make a reference to a local file, right?
Okay.
So when I want to actually build this as a layer, I made a little build script for it. I cd into here. I zip up this entire Node.js layer, right? This folder. CD back out.
Package it and
package
deploy
it
your layer.
just like I did with that other application.
Yep.
And deploy it just like I did with that other
Cool.
application. Our template looks a little different. SAM templates support layers, right? So every time
you got to specify that it is the
It's a
layer
layer.
version. So where do you specify the version of the layer, or is it just every time you
it
upload
just
one?
every
it
time you deploy,
automatically-
it gives you a new
Cool.
layer. So I can actually run that if you want, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Zipping, going and running the CloudFormation change set, and it'll give me a new version.
So
of that
what is
layer.
the difference between a Lambda layer and a nested app? Because you mentioned that there was.
Yeah, there's also nested apps. There's a big difference between the two, actually. So layers are really good for self-contained, I'd say business logic or functional code. Libraries are a great example, right? Axios, Lodash.
Runtimes.
You can use runtimes as layers too. Yeah, a lot of the runtimes that have been built, they are layers that you add in. So actually, if we go to the console, let's swap over there to my Lambda console. All right, so I've got, well, first I'll show you mentioned runtimes. I've actually got a PHP runtime written by our friend Chase over at Stackery. And there's actually a...
So he published
Let me
a
see.
layer that has the PHP runtime, and he has publicly given the ARN, which means that you can now use his layer on any of your Lambda functions.
Let me give you guys this link here.
This is a website where somebody's calling out awesome layers that have been built and published.
Yeah, PHP is on here, right? And this is the ARN. So if you want to add PHP as a runtime,
That's all you need.
yeah, you need this ARN. You replace it with whatever region you're running your function in, right? So if we click this layers here, you'll see this is that PHP runtime layer, right?
Yep.
That was exactly what I looked for. Now go.
And all he did to add it was basically just give it the ARN, and then he was able to add it.
I actually did every piece of this from the Lambda console. I didn't do anything. I didn't upload anything. But you just choose this use custom runtime in a layer. And I've got this really basic PHP. I'm not a PHP wizard. I did once write like a little tiny shell of PHP SDK for Box back when I worked at Box. But
Do you remember?
no, I don't remember PHP. I immediately
Deleted that out
dumped
of
that
your
out of
brain.
my mind. But
It's valid.
I've got this. I like PHP actually. A lot of the PHP changes to PHP 7 made a really nice language.
Wow.
You
I don't think I've ever met someone that said that they liked PHP.
It's hard for me to say that I dislike any languages. They're all tools.
Yeah.
So
I
I've
know
got this.
you'll write anything that people pay you to write.
That's my motto.
Yep.
You pay me money, I'll write that code. Configure test event, right? This is how you send a test event to invoke your Lambda function from the console. That's just an API proxy event, right? From
Okay.
API gateway. It's not a real one. But if I run this test, it should show us. Yep, here we go. We look at the body. Hello world. You've reached
Nice.
path to resource. And if we were to look at this configure test event, we see that, right?
Yep.
This is not mind-blowing stuff, but it is mind-blowing stuff that you can now include an
Custom
entirely
runtime.
new runtime
That's right.
in Lambda.
So, all those extraneous languages that maybe are your favorites, you can now write a layer for.
All right. So remember, I said I created this layer, and we just watched me deploy it, right?
We did.
So
we
let's
did
go.
watch you deploy
We've
it.
actually got screens
so now
for layers.
There's the version.
I've got local lib. I'm on version
8.
Right?
So you just deployed version 8.
Just deployed. If I go back, I have a Lambda that is using it, right? We come
Aren't you going to add it to our dev null service?
I will eventually, yeah. I haven't yet. See, I'm on layer 7 right now, right? I'll remove it. Come in, local lib, 8, add. Okay, gotta save. Gotta save too.
Can't forget that.
Let's look at the code real quick and see how. Look, remember I named my library after myself.
Very creative naming.
That's right. And now I'm logging using that function, right? Remember in that layer we had that function. This is the actual event, and then this is
the SQS URL that you're passing in.
Right. And this is not the way to do it. You would probably set this as an environment variable. You could pull it from AWS parameter store.
Yep.
I just hard-coded it just to show that it works. So when I run test, actually go ahead, get details back. Everything fires as I would expect. Everything looks good. I also have a function.
So you pushed something to the queue.
I did.
Should we check the SQS queue?
Yeah, I have a Petunia processor here.
Oh.
So if I click here.
What does this Petunia processor do?
It's hooked up to that queue that I just pushed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it should just log
what you pushed.
What I just pushed, which it did.
Nice.
Yeah. There you go.
Super cool. Created his own layer and deployed it, and then just used it.
So now I can reuse this layer, right? This library right here that I've written.
So our layer in our app is specifically going to log lottery numbers for our users. Is that what I heard?
I think ultimately what I'm going to use this is as a webhook service.
Oh.
Right? So people can subscribe to events that are happening in our system.
Yeah.
And then we'll notify a URL that they register with us, right?
Cool.
So I can put that logic inside this layer, right? Or I can put it inside of that processor, which is probably what I'll do, which is a separate application. Remember, I said there's a difference between layers and nested apps, right?
Right.
All right.
But you only talked about layers.
I know. I was getting to the nested apps, I promise.
Soaking Wet said, "This is awesome." You got a compliment.
Nobody has ever accused me of being awesome.
Wow.
So
that was amazing.
I'm into
I don't think I've seen that live yet.
I'm into it.
This is new.
All right. So I've been playing with nested apps too.
Okay, yeah. So what's the difference?
The largest difference that I've seen. Number one, you can pull these things from the serverless app repo, right? So if we just
so you can use like previously built serverless applications that were published in the SAR as building blocks.
Yeah, which we've got a whole collection of existing applications. You can come in, browse these applications. I actually at one point in time was building one of these for Box, but then I left Box and came here, and I never finished the app. I should have. I bet if you don't, there might be something in here for Box. I doubt it.
Someone actually picked it up?
No, I guess not. Still on me. Did we get a question?
Yeah, we have a question. Noble Quibo Chavez Elbe says, "Do you guys get any free personal Lambda usage above and beyond the free public amount?"
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do. We work here, so we've got. It's like one of the perks of working here, right?
Yep.
You get some stuff. Anyway, you can actually pull in pre-written. I think authorizer is probably a good example of this, right?
Yeah, so you can basically use the SAR as like Lego building blocks.
Yeah. Look, Lambda basic authorizer. I saw Chris Munns do a blog post about this, right? And you come in here and you can get the ARN when you're setting this stuff up. and that's how you reference it actually. So if we come back to my project here, I'm building my own serverless app, right?
Yep.
And so I've referenced it in a couple of these little boilerplate projects. Let's see. Clearly not in this one, so that's good.
So you're building your own app that you're going to plan to use
Here
as
we
a
go.
nested app?
That's right. And look, this is how you add a nested app in a SAM template. It's got an ARN specific to where I've deployed this. I'll show you how to deploy one too.
Okay,
How about
perfect.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Deal.
So I've got this ARN here, and this is pointing to a private, right? This is not a published to the serverless application repo.
You're going to use this as a private nested app that you might reuse in other places.
Yeah. Oh, soaking wet. I gotta call this out because this was something that I got to work on last year, and it's still it's not officially released yet.
Yeah, let me pull the
This is
I'll pull the link for you.
It's actually a VS Code extension that the team's working on.
Soaking wet, I'm gonna drop the link for you in the chat.
I don't have it set up right now, but it's for working with Lambda actually. So
Yep. In VS Code.
yeah, it hasn't actually been released yet to the
It's
VS Code
in
marketplace
beta right now.
But you can download it and install it in VS Code from GitHub.
Yeah, and feel free to like open GitHub issues as well if you find.
Yeah,
bugs.
they're always looking for what to build next, and also if you want to, they accept pull requests. Just saying.
They do.
So I'm referencing an application that I've already published to my own serverless app repo that nobody else has access to. You don't have access to this application, actually. I'm so sorry.
You're not gonna give it to me, are you?
Probably not. No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
But the key difference
I
between
never get that lucky.
a layer and a nested app that I've found
Yeah.
is a nested app is capable of, unlike a layer, creating its own infrastructure with a SAM template as well. So when I reference in another SAM application a nested application, it's going to go out and install through CloudFormation that application as well, right? So both.
Got it.
Whereas a layer, that's just really logic. You can still call out to services and do things, call out to third-party apps too, for example, third-party APIs. But with a layer, you're not getting that SQSQ, right? Like that has to be set up outside of it.
So if you had a nested app that was creating an SQSQ, for instance,
Yeah,
you could reuse it in 3 different functions and it would actually create 3 different queues.
that's right. The other thing too that's unique about the nested apps is for each SAM template that you reference the nested app, it's going to create a unique nested application inside of there, right? So what I mean, when I deploy this, let's say I have a buy function, right? A goodbye function.
You have buy, hi. I see hi.
Right. So if I were to deploy just this function right here,
Yeah.
and it's referencing the service app that I've got deployed, it's going to create one unique to this one function, right?
Yeah. And then if you were to reuse that in hi.
Right, which I did, that's going to create another version of this nested application.
Got it. Specific to that function.
But let's say I've got this hi function, I've got this buy function, and then I've got the service app here referenced for both. That's only going to create one for these two functions.
Got it. So then if you had a nested app that was creating an SQSQ and you used this template, they would all be pushing to the same queue and not 3 different queues would be created.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah, exactly. So if you need separation, right? If you need an SQSQ per SAM template, for example, you can reference that application in each individual SAM template you use to deploy your functions.
If you need 3 functions to all use the same, you would write one template and it would look like this.
That's right. That's right. So I promised I'd show you how to publish one of these, right?
Okay, we got a question here.
Oh, cool.
Skull Crusher for Life. Is there security that you can build into Lambda to prevent excessive API calls from a bad actor? Is that something that you can implement from SAM, or is that more magic that SAM normally implements?
Oh, no, I would put that at the API gateway layer, actually.
Yeah.
You can set rate limits on the API gateway.
Brandon to the rescue.
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. I didn't see that. But yes, yeah, that's actually one of the benefits of using API gateway, because you can now actually hook up ALB which is our application load balancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if ALB has support for rate limiting. So you can have ALB sit in front of a Lambda function as well. But API Gateway has rate limiting. Yeah. I think there's the web application firewall as well that works with CloudFront too. So you can use CloudFront fronted resources as well. But yeah, there's definitely lots of ways to rate limit. So I've got some notes here.
So is what you're building for our DevNull service a layer or a nested app?
Now, that's a good question.
Is that a trick question for you? Have you not thought about that?
I haven't picked which one I think is best yet. I think layer right now, but if we plan on having a lot more services, I may want to have SQSQs per service, right? So right now, our core service, which we haven't looked at, we've got 10 minutes left or so.
And your SQSQ would just log user actions, like
right?
Auditing.
It would be only that service, right? But
yep.
Let's say in the future we have comments and we have that get deleted and pictures that get deleted. I may want to have different SQSQs for that, right?
Yeah.
So that might be a nested app, right? Because every single one of those would need to deploy their own version.
Yep.
But this is how you deploy one, right? Oh, sorry. And one of the things that I ran into while I was doing this, actually, that I want to call out is that you have to come in and grant access to the S3 bucket that you use. You have to grant the serverless app repo access to that.
Got it.
Which
How did you do that?
It's a bucket policy.
Okay.
I'll show you. But if I just come in here and say SAM package, it's going to go ahead and do it. And then SAM publish is actually how you go ahead.
So now you're making this a published app on SAR.
I'm in the wrong directory too, by the way. Let me rerun that.
You're publishing this to the SAR?
Publishing it to my SAR.
Oh, to your SAR so that you could use it as a nested app.
So that you can't get to it.
Right.
So if I just click on this link that gets generated, here we go. This is my private. This is not, you can't take this and go install it right now.
And then if you wanted to make this public.
See, look, this application is private. I can click that.
Okay, that's easy enough.
So I mentioned the bucket, right? The bucket that I packaged this into.
And you added a bucket policy too.
S3. I don't think I remember what the policy is, so hopefully I can see it. Here we go. Oh, no, I didn't want to click on it, but I just go properties. Permissions is where I wanted to be, actually. Bucket policy. Here we go. So I just grant the service get object. That's what you have to give it.
Yep.
So that the bucket that you're pulling your zip file from instead has to be able to give access to the serverless app repo. All right. So that's how you deploy a nested app. And then using it, we've already seen, right? In those
so you
other
have
templates.
to make a decision.
Yeah.
Which one you want to incorporate in our DevNull.
What every great CTO does, right?
Yeah.
Goes out and plays with stuff for like a week and says, like, which is the viable tech.
So now I'm asking you, which one is the viable tech moving forward?
Whoops.
You didn't actually get that far.
I think nested layer for the time being. I just joined the two nested layer.
Nested layer.
I meant a Lambda layer for the time being until we decide to move out to actually have different services, right? And we've got probably like 6 minutes left. Do you want to look at the core services that I built?
Yeah, I do.
I don't know if you've actually looked at them.
I have looked at some of them.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Okay, well, I definitely used one of them in the front end already.
Oh, yeah, you did. So this is the Petunia Services, and I built a few. Because we got some really, really interesting ideas from the Twitch stream, right?
Yep. You got some encryption services there, I see.
I do, yeah. AES, KMS, yeah.
Maybe you should make the encryption service the layer.
Well, that's something that I was going to actually point out too when we look at this, right? So DevNull, this is the backbone of our whole company, and this is probably the best function I've ever written in my entire career. And I've written a lot of functions now.
The best function.
This is the best one.
Wow.
Because all it does is delete all of the properties off of the event. And that's it. And it returns
it's like the best security you can get.
That I deleted your data.
That's it.
I also log it just to show that I deleted everything off of it.
That's Brilliant.
That's it.
Nice job. Good job. This works. I tested that this works. I showed you with a
Yeah,
workable UI.
it's actually
that
hooked
it
up.
works.
So then we got some feedback on the Twitch stream that it might be equally as funny to just encrypt the data with undecipherable keys.
And then delete it.
Well,
or throw away the keys, and then we could save the encrypted
I really
data.
like this AES one, actually. This AES one is... oh, and I was setting up... This is actually, too... I doubt we have time to do this. But this is how you... in VS Code, if I need to come in and do that SAM local start API...
Yep.
And then debug... this is in docs.
Yeah, I mentioned this.
Yeah.
It's in the GitHub that I posted for the SAM CLI, this config. So you can just copy and paste it into your VS Code config.
Yeah, see, and you can set breakpoints and hit this stuff. This actually might be the best function that I've ever written.
Wait, you just said that about the last one.
I know, but
I can't keep up.
I feel like this one's funnier.
Okay, what does this one do?
All right, so this one...
I didn't look at this one, by the way. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I only had time to look at one. I had to make the other thing work, so...
Wow.
Time is of the essence. We're working in a startup here.
So this one generates random bytes as a password, and then it also salts the password, and then it encrypts the password. Okay.
And then it deletes it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then it deletes all of that, and then I take this encrypted password, and I'm going to use that then to encrypt the data that you sent me. I believe. I think that's the next. No. I needed a cipher key too to use with AES, right? So this is the actual password for AES. I haven't even gotten to where I'm encrypting your data yet. I encrypted the password, and salted the password rather, with random data that then is used
then the
for
only
the
thing you didn't
encryption
delete was
function.
the hash secret. Then you take the hash secret
That's right.
and you're creating a hash lock.
Yep. And then I'm finally getting to your data, event.body. And I'm using the encrypted hash lock here. And I'm just throwing all of this away.
Now it's encrypted, then you delete the hash lock, and then where do you delete the data?
You don't delete the
You're
data.
not deleting the data, you're just deleting the
Because
key.
it's encrypted beyond...
beyond possible decryption.
Right, because I've just thrown away all the keys.
So what are you doing with the data?
Not only did I randomly generate the keys, I threw them all away. Right?
You're just returning the data.
Yeah, so then I just return it as a base 64 encoded
So we
string.
could save that. That's something that we could store in Dynamo.
Right. And I even added a little Easter egg too. So if you send me nothing, it's the safest data to post. Right? Nothing.
I love that. That's
All right.
amazing. Ouch, your data hurt me.
So, like, these steps here...
AM, you write the best error messages.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Some of these steps are repeated in my KMS service as well.
So there's another encryption option here.
Yeah, using KMS, which is in AWS.
Could you just, not make a decision?
Well, I wanted to show how to use both, right?
Oh.
So I'm still, instead of generating the password that AES uses to encrypt your data with, PDK and
Are you
normal...
giving me the option to decide which encryption service?
Yeah, you can use KMS then to generate the password that then uses in the encryption step to encrypt your data. So it's essentially doing the exact same thing, but I could take this step here, right, where I actually encrypt your data, and I could set that as a Lambda layer. That would be a really good use of a Lambda layer.
Yeah.
All right.
Encrypt the data and then delete it.
We've got about a minute left. What do you think?
Let's see. Any last minute questions from you guys? Let's see. Looks like there's a side conversation happening.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Definitely, me too.
So, what did we do today?
Oh, we did a lot of things.
We did a lot of
today.
stuff. We did a lot of Lambda
okay,
stuff.
so we started off by giving you the time to deploy your Elastic Beanstalk website that
Yeah.
you have been giving me crap for the last 2 weeks that you didn't get any
I don't
time on the
know.
episode.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So we started off with that, and then we showed my front end actually working and hitting your dev null as a service.
Yeah.
You liked the UI so much that you agreed to sign up. I'm not forgetting that.
That's right.
I'm gonna hold you to that. And then we went into SAM CLI. So we covered SAM templates, SAM CLI, and we showed how to create an app using the SAM CLI and how to deploy it, package it and deploy it actually. And then we went into Lambda Layers.
Yeah.
Lambda layers versus nested apps.
Yeah, nested apps. Those are two very useful things to
Which
use.
we think that we're going to go the route of Lambda layers.
For now. But I think
now.
eventually we'll probably need nested apps for our queuing and webhook service.
Right, but not yet.
Yeah.
So you should put a layer in and then push it to GitHub.
Yeah, I can do that for sure.
The cool layer that you built with your name on it specifically is the one that I want to see in the DevNull as a service.
All right. So next week we'll be back at the same time, right?
We will be back at the same time. Thursday at 1 p.m.
Thursday at 1 p.m. All right. Well, this was a great episode. This
really awesome.
We did a lot of stuff.
Any last minute questions? Can a Lambda layer be used to create general functions, or can they only be used to include dependencies specifically needed for a specific function? So Blaster 8, that's a great question. Absolutely, you can create a general function as a Lambda layer that you can reuse, but that might be more the case for a nested app.
Yep. Yeah. If the way to think about it is if you're including things that need to get provisioned out in an AWS account, like a Lambda or an SQS queue, that's a nested app typically. If you're just doing logic, you're writing code that needs to be reused across many different functions, that's a layer.
Yep.
So that's generally, and with some caveats to that, but that's generally how you do it.
That's the difference.
All right.
Cool.
Well, we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
See you soon.
Signing off.